I am not apt to follow blindly the lead of other men. I am not the least afraid to die. Great is the power of steady misrepresentation. One hand has surely worked throughout the universe. A man who dares to waste 1 hour of time has not discovered the value of life. Light will be thrown on the origin of man and his history. It is always advisable to perceive clearly our ignorance. The love for all living creatures is the most noble attribute of man. Blushing is the most peculiar and most human of all expressions. Man selects only for his own good, nature only for that of the being which she tends. For the shield may be as important for victory as the sword or spear. The very essence of instinct is that it's followed independently of reason. Wherever the European had trod, death seemed to pursue the aboriginal. He who understands baboons would do more towards metaphysics than Locke. A scientific man ought to have no wishes, no affections, a mere heart of stone. Only picture to yourself a nice soft wife on a sofa with good fire, and books and music. We will now discuss in a little more detail the struggle for existence. Ignorance more frequently begets confidence than does knowledge. Unusual degree. This family became divided 8 generations. Whilst man, however well behaved, at best is but a monkey shaved. I am dying by inches, from not having any body to talk to about insects. Alexander von Humboldt was the greatest scientific traveler who ever lived. I am convinced that natural selection has been the main but not exclusive means of modification. Such simple instincts as bees making a beehive could be sufficient to overthrow my whole theory. We stopped looking for monsters under our bed when we realized that they were inside us. Intelligence is based on how efficient a species became at doing the things they need to survive. The power to charm the female has sometimes been more important than the power to conquer other males in battle. If the misery of the poor be caused not by the laws of nature, but by our institutions, great is our sin. The mystery of the beginning of all things is insoluble by us, and I for one must be content to remain an agnostic. The highest possible stage in moral culture is when we recognize that we ought to control our thoughts. An American monkey, after getting drunk on brandy, would never touch it again, and thus is much wiser than most men. I see no good reasons why the views given in this volume should shock the religious views of anyone. We are not here concerned with hopes or fears, only with truth as far as our reason permits us to discover it. We are always slow in admitting any great change of which we do not see the intermediate steps. To kill an error is as good a service as, and sometimes even better than, the establishing of a new truth or fact. It is difficult to believe in the dreadful but quiet war lurking just below the serene facade of nature. Our descent, then, is the origin of our evil passions. The devil under form of baboon is our grandfather. I have tried lately to read Shakespeare, and found it so intolerably dull that it nauseated me. And thus, the forms of life throughout the universe become divided into groups subordinate to groups. How odd it is that anyone should not see that all observation must be for or against some view if it is to be of any service. There is no fundamental difference between man and animals in their ability to feel pleasure and pain, happiness and misery. In conclusion, it appears that nothing can be more improving to a young naturalist than a journey in distant countries. Often a cold shudder has run through me, and I have asked myself whether I may have not devoted myself to a fantasy. If I had my life to live over again, I would have made a rule to read some poetry and listen to some music at least once every week. What wretched doings come from the ardor of fame? The love of truth alone would never make one man attack another bitterly. It is necessary to look forward to a harvest, however distant that may be, when some fruit will be reaped, some good effected.
If you like this video, we have more in store for you. Support us by subscribing the channel and clicking the bell icon.
A long time ago, the land in the south of the Himalayas was ruled by a great king. One day, an ambassador from another country came to his kingdom. The ambassador gifted him a beautifully crafted sword. The king loved the gift. While appreciating the beauty of the sword, the king accidentally cut the tip of his finger. The king was suffering a great deal of pain and started panicking. He was worried if the injury would have any long-term effects.